Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Ziggy's Rants. And today I want to talk about the British politicians' entitlement. We have far too many politicians now who feel they're entitled to to their positions in Westminster. They're too cozy. They've won far too many years. That they've been in Parliament as an MP, and they now feel entitled. This is the case, especially in Scotland and with the SNP. Pete Wishart, for the MP for North and North Perthshire, been an MP for nearly 20 years now, and he come out with an extraordinary rant, shall we say, on X about ALBA and the Greens putting up a candidate in the next general election against him. That's entitlement. He believes they shouldn't be taking him on. And his argument is it hurts independence. Well, I'm sorry, but the general election is not about independence. The general election is about putting a politician in, an MP, into Westminster to look after the constituencies on this constituency's behalf. And that's our constituency, not just those that vote independence, but everybody in his area. And to believe and get so annoyed and come out with it that ALBA should not be, how dare ALBA or the Greens put up a candidate against him? It's not democratic to believe this, that they shouldn't. It should be the best person to become an MP, not, well, you don't go against me because you might hurt my chances of winning. They're different parties. It's quite extraordinary for an MP to come out, but that's entitlement. He's sat for 20 years on a big fat salary in Westminster, and he believes he should be there for another 5 years and then another 5 years because he's been there so long. Nobody should be taking him on. It's not democratic. If ALBA want to put up a candidate against him, that's democracy. You know, you go against them. You don't have a big rant. You fight them on their policies on their candidate, but you don't suggest that they shouldn't be putting one up just because he might harm his chances of winning. But we see this far too often, and the SNP have got lazy. They've become entitled, and with entitlement comes corruption. And that's what we're seeing. And laziness. They believe, well, I'm going to win, so I'll win, but I don't really have to work for it. I don't really have to come up with any new policies that will help Scotland. I don't really have to do anything apart from turn up on polling day and collect my prize with a big fat salary at Westminster. That's not how the system should work, and we're seeing this far too often. And they have got lazy, and this is why they got into power in the first place, because that happened with Labour. Labour become far too complacent in Scotland. They become far too entitled and thought, well, we've won Scotland. Scotland is Labour, and it always has been, and it always will be, so we don't really have to work for it. That's what happened with Labour. And we saw what happened. It allowed the SNP into power. But now we're seeing that with the SNP, and we're openly seeing it with the SNP. So, but that has to change, because we can't have MPs who feel they're entitled to sit at Westminster no matter what. We don't. That's not what we want. That's not democracy. So we need to vote these people out. We need to give them a clear message at the general election that you work for us. We don't work for you. And that's the way we've gotten at the moment. Far too many politicians don't work for the people, don't work for us. They believe we work for them. And it's about time they got a message that that's not, we're not putting up with that anymore. So we need to vote these people out. And Pete Wishart needs to get voted out. He needs to understand that he's not entitled. And let's vote him out in the next general election. Let's give him a clear message. And I think that goes for all politicians. So that's my rant for this afternoon. Please thumbs up if you like, please, and subscribe. The more subscribers I get, the more reach I get, and that can only help. So please subscribe. Watch out. I'm going to do a couple of interviews shortly. So watch out for them on Ziggy's World. And until then, take care.